Hi guys, what we're going to be doing here, I'm going to be doing this video as a case study maybe. I don't know the outcome because I don't have a clue what is wrong with the car yet. So I don't even know if I'm going to able to find the problem. But the car came to me with a misfire. Okay, there's a misfire. The car has definitely been in another place. I've not been told that when they dropped the car here, but when I was opening, when I was start to take things apart on the engine bay, there is bolt screws missing. There is a lot of things not put it back right in place. So I've been told nothing was done to the car other than a scan. But obviously that is not entirely true. Now what I'm going to show you is, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear how bad the misfire is, but you might be. So let's gonna start the engine. Actually, before I start the engine, I'm going to show you exactly what happens. And we're going to do that using the DS708, obviously. So what I'm going to do is turn the ignition on. It's going to go to the yeah, anyone will do really, but let's gonna go to the read codes. So this is the codes. I'm gone. I actually think it's that ECU in there because, well, anyway, so this is the code. So is a misfire with cut off. The cut off means is actually switching off the injector, the cylinder. So we're gonna go into live data, and what I'm gonna do is it's gonna go back first. Let's gonna erase those codes first. So the codes are gone. Okay, I will go back and we'll go to live data, and you're gonna see exactly what happens. So what happened is when you start the engine, it really misfires bad. The engine runs really rough. So put all the 10. So all the 10 cylinders are here, and obviously that is the injection time. And if you look on cylinder number 5, you're gonna see what you're gonna watch is, I'm gonna tell you before. So the engine is gonna start. They all inject roughly the same length of time, so everything looks good. The engine misfires really bad. There's a really bad misfire. It runs really rough. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it, but it does run. And a few seconds later, obviously the engine management light comes on. It says reduced power, blah blah blah. And over here, it's going to cut off the injector. It's going to stop injection, which is what that code was telling us. So we're going to watch it. So watch number 5. I don't know if you can hear how rough the engine is running. Look at that one. It's taking a little bit this time. It's not throwing the code now for some reason. I've barely touched the engine bay yet, other than take a few plastics off, so right guys, I don't know what to say. What's happening every single time? I'm gonna have to see if I've touched anything on the engine that would but if I did, it's gonna be a wire somewhere then. It's gonna go to the engine bay, do the wiggle test, wiggle some wires around, see if the fault comes up. So it's puzzling me a little bit more, but right, so the cylinder is not cutting off. You can feel a little bit of a roughness on the engine. It doesn't seem to be run as it should, but it's not cutting the engine yet, the cylinder, but the engine light is on, as you can see at the back. So that means that there's a misfire on that cylinder for sure. It didn't cut the engine yet, but yeah, there's something wrong there. So we're gonna take the covers off, the intake system off, so we can access injectors, spark plugs, coils and all that, and we'll go from there. So my route to diagnose this problem is going to be coil pack first, perhaps glow plug as I touch it, check the glow plug, make sure it's okay, coil pack, injector, although the injector I believe is going to be working, for the simple fact, like I said to you, or if I didn't I will tell you now, when was cutting the engine, obviously when I've started the engine first, I was expecting the engine to run that rough, and a few seconds later the ECU would cut off that injector. And what was happening before, it didn't happen now for some reason, is that the engine would run really rough, and the second the ECU cut that injector off, the engine would run smoother straight away. So obviously that injector is injecting something, otherwise it wouldn't make that roughness. So it's injecting something. It just looks like the petrol is not being burned properly or something like that. But we'll go one stage at a time. So next stage is take all the covers off. So as you can see, all the covers have been, or this side has been removed, these bank off cylinders. The cylinder number 5, which is the one that is misfiring, is the last one. Yep. And so I've done a quick visual inspection through the inlet ports. I couldn't really see nothing, so I went to remove the coils and the glow plugs, and as soon as I removed the coils, I had a really nasty surprise. You're not going to be able to see now because it's dry, but this is the coil pack of cylinder number 5. And when I pull it out, it was completely soaked in water. Okay. Then I moved to number 4, and you can see a little bit as well. The coil pack came out wet as well, and you can see some traces of water being there. Okay, and I'm going to show you the the plugs. This is the plug of number 5. Okay. This is the plug of number 4. There is some trace of water in there as well. And just to make sure, obviously this is not normal, but just to make sure I was not looking at something really weird, I removed coil number 2. And this is obviously how it should look like. Clean. Yeah. And spark plug number 2 as well. So at this moment in time, I strongly believe that the water is what was causing, by the look of it, the water was right up to here, isn't it? So I believe the water is what was making the coil pack to fail. I don't think there's nothing wrong with the coil pack or the glow plug. I just think the water was just causing the spark to not get to the spark plug properly, and was making to fail. It was probably diverting the current, obviously, into the block, failing the spark. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with this. I'm just wondering why was water in there, which is kind of puzzles me at the moment, because I don't have a clue how the water got in there. So what I'm going to do next is clean everything. I'm going to put everything back together exactly in the same places, and then obviously if I have a misfire again, then obviously I'm going to see if I can then move the coil pack, see if that moves, or move the spark plug. I don't have a spare spark plug here at the moment, so I'm gonna have to reutilize those, but we'll go from there. Guys, another thing that I've decided to do while I have that all opened is I'm gonna do a compression test. Okay, and that's not here. That's in service functions, maintenance, drive, motor electronics, injection deactivation, So switch on ignition, switch on again. Okay, so it's deactivated. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press, and the car doesn't start, obviously. Stop. That's fine. Okay, escape, go off. I'm just gonna have a look. To see what's on the gauge. I would expect a little bit more than this, to be fair with you. This is not a lot. this is now low. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to test the one before that to see where that takes us. So that's going to release that one. It's going to check the next one. So let's going to do cylinder number 4 now. Ignition on, motor electronics. Stop. Okay. It's gonna see number 4. Wow. What's going on here? What's going on here? I don't think this is normal. So it's gonna check another one. It's gonna check another one. Okay, let's now check cylinder number 2. It's gonna try. And let's gonna see how much that one reached. About the same. So I would say it's about right then. I'm not. Hey guys, I do apologize about how I end up the last segment. Obviously that compression value number was puzzling me a little bit. I was expecting a little bit more, but I didn't know the details up to then, so I came to TIS, look for the obviously data for this engine, and the compression ratio is 12:1. Which basically it should gives you between 6.5 and 10 bars per on each cylinder. Yeah, so we're gonna quick look at the gauge to see that the actual compression is right at the minimum, but is within the range. So we're gonna have a look. So I don't know if you remember, guys, but the first cylinder was on about 100, so 100 psi's, which is about 6.5, and the other ones were just a little bit below, like 98, 99, but usually it's still right at the minimum. So it's still within the right parameters, but in the range. So I believe there's no problems with the compression on the engine. So I'm going to do what I've just said on earlier. I'm going to clean everything, put everything back with, obviously the water is dried now. Let's going to see how the car behaves. Right guys, so the glow plug, the plugs and the spark plugs and the coils are in place now. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to run the engine again. The intake manifold is not in place yet, so we might have an engine light for the mass airflow, but we'll see what happens. So just gonna try to start the engine, but before that we're gonna go, sorry guys, we're gonna go there and we're gonna delete these codes. Comment error, escape, yes. So let's gonna go to live data just to see what happens, what's happening there. It's gonna come down to there. So I'm gonna start the engine. Wow. The first thing I can tell you is that is deactivated already. Straight away. Whoa, the whole bank is off. What's going on in there? Right. It's gonna see why it's doing this. So misfires in there in that side now. It's gonna turn the engine off. Let's gonna find out what's going on in there. Because when the engine first started, it was running really smooth. And all of a sudden, that just happened. So let's turn this off. Right guys, because all the bank has failed at the same time, I believe that is because the intake manifold was not in place. So I've just temporarily put it in there, and we're gonna have another go. Ignition on, read the codes. Just gonna go back, erase all these codes. Okay, let's gonna see if it's gone. Yeah, no faults. Just gonna go to live data again. Just gonna have a look at these cylinders again. Okay, that's gonna start the engine. So obviously the engine doesn't run without the covers on, without the intakes in place. It looks that the engine is running a little bit smoother, but it's gonna see if the engine light management is still off at the moment. Let's gonna have a look at the codes. Okay, let's gonna read the codes. So there's still no codes in there. Definitely the engine seems to run, it looks that's running a little bit smoother. And remember, the cover, the intake is not in place completely yet, so it might be some leaks in there. So that's it. There's no lights yet. No funny lights on the dash. Everything's still off. So it's gonna read the codes again, because last time just the coolant thermostat monitoring for some reason. I don't have a clue what that means at the moment. So it might be one of the electric thermostats, perhaps. Don't know. Actually, let me have a look. Some live data here still. If there's anything here that will help me out to the so there is nothing here for the thermostats, I believe. No, there isn't. Now there's nothing here for the but the engine is running much smoother now. It doesn't seem to be any misfires now. So yeah, so I believe that was the cause of it, was that water in there. Now why is the water in there, I don't know. I'm afraid that if this happens again and there is more water in there, I believe it's going to be the gasket. It's going to be the gasket in there, because I don't see how the water would get through the top of the coil pack. The way the coil pack is, the coil is designed, I doubt any water would get in there. So I'm a little bit, so the only place would be the gasket, really. So that's it, guys. I know it's not one of those videos where yoo-hoo, everything gets resolved, but well, the engine is running okay now. As you can see, there's no funny lights on the dash like before, so the engine is running normally for me now. It's just why it's causing that water to get in there. So the water was actually the cause of the misfiring. Now how the water got in there, that's another issue, that if the head needs to be removed, I'm afraid that is not a job for me. I'm more for the electrics. I don't even have conditions on the driveway to do this. So yeah, but at least if it happens again, we know where to look at. So guys, I hope somehow this video was helpful. It was not one of those perfect videos, but well, guess what, I fucked up sometimes as well. I'm not perfect. I just hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you for watching. Any questions, put them below, and have a nice day.